academic people, well, academic in the sense that, accountancy has a profession is more practical. So what that means is whatever we do relates to a business. We don't just do things. So at this stage, you will not be asked to give definitions in isolation. Okay? So whatever you do must relate to a business. And the examiner will try to give you as much information as possible on that question. So you cannot manufacture what is not there, but at least what is there, you can use that to answer your question. And there will be some situations whereby you can do your own assumptions, but you have to state that they are your assumptions. You understand? Based on your understanding of that market. So it doesn't mean whatever comes in your answer will be the theory and whatever is provided in the exam question. But there could be some instances whereby you could put your own assumptions. But if you state them and then they are facts, they are tangible, of course, you gain marks. Okay? Does that answer your question, Omar?
Yes, it does.
Okay, excellent. So let's move to the part D, if there are no other questions. So we're going to go to part D. Part D is about calculating the expected cost per unit for the radio and identify any cost gap. So we have to do two things. One will be to calculate our unit cost using our current costing regime, and then we calculate our target cost and we find the difference. That's the cost gap. Okay, because we've already answered the question, the C part of the question that explains what happens if there is a cost gap. So it's like D should have come before C, so but they just twisted it. So that's why I say it's the same question, the same information. So don't say I have not reached part D yet, so I cannot read that part. When you are reading an exam type question, read everything, because the reason why they gave you everything is based on that particular question. So you should read everything. It doesn't mean the question should follow as they are, because when you look at the chronology of this question, by right, D should come first before C. You calculate and then you say steps of reducing the gap. So instead, they brought that first and then, bring the how to call it, the calculation question last. Okay, is that clear? Right. So last class, my videos were very, very, very long. So I want to avoid that this time around. So let someone help me to remind me. Let someone help me to remind me. It's 30 now. So I want at least every 30 minutes. So by 4 o'clock, I need to stop. No. So let somebody be reminding me so that the videos are not that long. Last one, it was very, very long. Yes, Mohammed? Mohammed, go ahead. Okay.
It's Magam.
Oh, Magam, sorry. Yeah, Magam.
I had wanted to tell you that your videos last class were long. I was watching them on YouTube, but it was different from the previous ones.
Yes, because I forgot to stop. In fact, I suffered myself. I was. You have to. People don't understand. The online classes are more demanding than when you go and stand, and then people don't understand. But the advantage is once you do it, they are there forever. Anybody can make reference to them. So that's the beauty. It took me whole night to, even though I was not awake. So I've started downloading it. Because you have to download to your machine and then you upload to YouTube. You see, so it took me almost whole night to download the second video, and then I had to upload it. So it took a long time. So when videos are too long, it's not good. So let somebody be reminding me, please. When it's 4 o'clock, every 30 minutes, I want to stop the video so that it's not too long. Okay. Right. So I'll read the D part, the information relating to the D part. Okay. So I'll try to read and explain before we attempt the D part. A selling price of $44 has been set in order to compete with a similar radio on the market that has comparable features to Edwards Company's intended product. The board have agreed that the acceptable margin after allowing for all production costs should be 20%. Okay, so this was what I was arriving at. The margin is not just determined by, anybody, like the accountant cannot jump up and say, this is the margin. No, these are strategic decisions that are taken usually at board level. So that's why it's mentioning here that, that the board have agreed that acceptable margin after allowing for all production costs should be 20%. So that's 20% on the selling price. Okay, cost information for the new radio is as follows. So we know our selling price, and then we have got our profit percentage so that we can be able to calculate our profit. And if we calculate our profit, we can easily determine our target cost, isn't it? So it will be that profit less the selling price. We all agree that, yeah? Right. So now this cost information is referring to the current costing technique that the organization is using. Okay. So we have to find the current cost and then try to compare it to the target cost. Already the first paragraph above gave us all the information to calculate our target cost. Is that clear? Okay, so let's look at the cost information. Component one, which is circuit board, these are bought in and cost $4.10 each. They are bought in badges of 4,000, and additional delivery costs are 2,400 per badge. So the circuit board is the first material that will be used for this radio. Okay, and when you buy them, you buy this circuit board each for $4.10. Okay, but then when you are buying them, you buy them in batches of 4,000, and when you're delivering, they are delivered in batches, and the delivery cost 2,400 for a batch of 4,000. Okay, we've all learned in our accounting standards, IAS 16 in particular, International Accounting Standard 16, which is about PPE, isn't it? Property, plant, and equipment. And in that, it describes what is meant by cost. Okay? Because we all know cost is not just the product cost of an item, but it's any cost that is incurred to bring the asset or the product to its location. Okay? So if you buy circuit board, and you pay a delivery cost. So delivery cost is part of that circuit board. So to get the unit delivery cost, it is what? 2,400 for a badge of 4,000. So 2,400 divided by 4. So that will be the delivery cost or the transport cost that will be added to the 4.10 to give you the unit cost of your component one. Component 2 is wiring. In an ideal situation, 25 centimeters of wiring is needed for each completed radio in an ideal situation. Is there any situation that is ideal? Have you known of any situation that is ideal?
No.
No. No. You know what ideal means? 100%. Everything normal. Okay? As this Kadikebe cassette will say, everything sank. Okay? So there is nothing sank in life. So no ideal situation, not even in our lives, much more production. Okay? So in an ideal situation, 25 centimeters of wiring is needed for each completed radio. However, there is some waste involved in the process, as wire is occasionally cut to the wrong length or is damaged in the assembly process. Edwards Company estimates that 2% of the purchased wire is lost in assembly process. Wires cost $0.5 per meter to buy. Okay? So take note of this. There are two things here. The first thing is mentioning about the unit that is used. That's the wiring that is used. The quantity of wire that is used to produce one component. Okay, and that's 25 centimeters of wiring is needed for each completed radio. Okay, that is in an ideal situation. That means if there are no waste, you need 25 centimeters. Okay, so now it's telling you that there is waste of 2%. So that means what you will need to buy, will it be 25 centimeters or it will be more than 25 centimeters or less than 25 centimeters? It will be
more than 25.
sensible. Sensible. You know, in an ideal situation, you are going to use 25 centimeters, but they told you that 2% will be waste, 2% will be damaged. So that means what you need to buy will definitely be more than 25 centimeters of wire. So, and what you're going to do is you have to gross up the 2%. So that means what you'll need will be more than 2%, more than 25 centimeters. So you need to gross up the 2%. Okay. I'm sure for some of you who have already done tax, you are familiar with grossing up. Okay. Grossing up is to find your gross amount. So it's like a net amount is given. The net is the 25 centimeters, that's in an ideal situation. So you are asked to find the gross. So that's what you call grossing up. So to gross up a number, if there is going to be 2% waste, so you're going to multiply it by whatever you're going to have. The quantity that you are working will be 25, will be multiplied by 100 over 98. Because it's like, it's going to be 100% minus 2% to give you 98. So 100 minus 98 will gross up. So if you take 100 divided by 98 multiplied by 25, will give you a number that is more than 25. So at least the first clue that you need to put into consideration here is, you know that what you're going to need, what you're going to buy will be more than 25 centimeters. Once you have that, then you're fine. Okay? So you can either use your simple equation or you can do a gross up. But for accountants, what we do is we gross up. Okay? But mathematically, you can use your equation, you know, and then you can say x, you know, because you are finding a number, x will be your gross amount. So if you say x, which is your gross amount, okay, x multiplied by a particular percentage, which is 2%, plus that 2% is equals to 25. So if you substitute it, you should get a number that will be similar to if you do your gross up. Okay. So the second point you have to take note of is the wiring that is given is in centimeters, but then the cost of the wire is in meters. So again, your primary school, maybe your primary 3 or primary 4 knowledge will come to play here. We know that centimeters are not the same as meters. So if it is in centimeters and the price is in meters, you have to convert the centimeter to meters. We know how many centimeters make 1 meter?
100.
100. Good. So let us not forget about our primary school knowledge. They will help us along the way. So that's why, you know, in everything you do in life, you must have a foundation. Okay? You did your WAS to start this course. And this degree program is also another foundation for you to either become a professional accountant or to become, to concentrate on the academic, that's to pursue a master's degree and a PhD also. So the BS degree also is also a foundation degree. Okay, so that's what you'll do. So you'll take the 25, divide by 100, and you multiply it by the rate after grossing it up. Okay, so the order material straight away is it costs 8.10 per radio. Somebody want to ask a question or what?
Yes, Mr. Fofana.
Yes, Mane.
The way you gross it up, it's okay. I don't know whether this one also will work.
Okay.
To make it 102% divided by 100% times the number of centimeters.
Okay,
Since the 25% is already divided by 100. times the centimeters,
Mhm.
whether that will be a direct gross of. Since the 25% is already 100%,
Okay.
now 102 mean you are adding 2% of it. I don't know whether that formula will also be applicable.
That will give you the opposite of the grossing up. So when you're doing your grossing up, usually you take whatever percentage you have, you deduct it from 100% because all percentages are 100. Okay, so whatever you deduct will become your denominator, and then 100 will always be your numerator. Okay, so that if you take 100 divided by 98 and you multiply it by 25 over 100 multiplied by the how to call it, the cost per meter of wire, then you'll get your gross up. So if you want to find that you're going to use more, so just take 25, for example, multiply by 100 over 98. But if you use 102, okay, so if you use 102 divided by 100 multiplied by 25, will it give you the same answer as 100 over 98 times 25? Will it give you the same answer?
Yes, it will be 25.5 for the 102 divided by 100 times 25. But when you use 100 divided by 98 times 25, it will be 25.5 and now 10 like that. But all of them, when you round it up, it will be 25.5.
It will be 25. Okay, but actually, it's how to call it, correct to use the 100 over 98. Okay, it's that's the usual procedure. I'm sure you'll do a lot of this when you do your taxation. Okay? When you do your taxation. Okay, so let's move on. The other materials, I want to explain all this so that when we come to the calculation itself, we find it easy. Yeah. The other materials cost 8.10 per radio. So the unit cost for the other materials is only $8.10. Assembly labor. These are skilled people who are difficult to recruit and retain. Edwards Company has more staff of this type than needed, but is prepared to carry this extra cost in return for the security it gives to the business. It takes 30 minutes to assemble a radio, and the assembly workers are paid $12.60 per hour. It is estimated that 10% of the hours paid to the assembly workers is for idle time. Okay? What is idle time? What is idle time?
I think it is a time whereby the worker does not have anything to do.
Ah, okay, I like that. No, the worker can sometimes have something to do, but it's the worker who is refusing to do something. It's wasting the organization's time.
Where can I come in?
You know, some people, when you find them at work, oh, listen, very sad, eh? When you go to banks, for example, I don't know whether any of you have experienced this, or when you go to any customer service area, you can go and stand. Okay, you want a cashier to attend to you, and the cashier will be on a phone call, or the cashier will be texting. Have any one of you experienced that?
Yeah, I experienced that, Mr. Furkan.
Very good. So that is idle time. That is idle time. A customer is standing before you, and you are busy doing things that are irrelevant to the work. Okay,
Some people will even say,
that time you are there, your employer is paying you. That's why we say you will go to work from 8 to 4. They pay you according to the time.
If I may,
the number of hours you work for them.
is the cost of labor paid hours not work in the productive activities.
Exactly. So it's the cost to the employer that has been paid in terms of labor, but then the employer does not give anything. Sorry, the employee does not give anything to the employer. This can include a lot of things, and it's very, very, very common in this country. Very common and very, very sad. Well, very sad. Very sad, to be honest, because some people, if you try to talk to them, they will in fact want to insult you. They don't know that in fact you are favoring them. I don't know. I don't know whether you experience it. This is a problem in the Gambia. We have a serious problem when it comes to customer service. We have a serious problem when it comes to idle time. People look for employment, they get employment, and they don't like the employment. Because what happens? They don't work. They don't like the job. But they will not quit. In the meantime, they will be collecting money from their employer. So they are eating nothing but riba. Okay? You go to banks, you go to customer. I experienced this last week. Okay, that was a positive one though. I went to a supermarket at the turntable, right? So I, bought my stuff. Then I went to the checkout. I went to the cashier. My things were already placed on the tray for the cashier to serve me. The cashier was shouting at the top of her voice, chatting with someone else on the other end. So they were talking in Wolof, and I don't know, trying to arrange a scenario. So when I read that, I say, "Ngo, diamo bulawaye and serve." I told him, "Look, why don't you stop that talk and come and serve me?" Then for her, she's somebody who is good, who has respect. Then she said, "Oh, I'm sorry." Then she kept quiet. She was serving me. Then I bought a particular product. I bought a huge quantity. So I just want to, quench her, whatever. So I told her, okay, just want to break conversation between the two of us. Then I told her, "Oh, I'm buying a huge quantity of this. Why don't you ask me what I'm using all this thing for?" Then she said to me, she said, me, I cannot say anything because I'm really surprised as to the way you shouted at me. Then I said, okay, good. In fact, this is why I started this conversation. I want to tell you why I shouted at you. I told her, if it were some customers, you know what they will do? They will report you to your boss. And that supermarket is owned by a guy who used to live in the US. The guy is very proactive. He doesn't waste time when it comes to quality. So if she is reported, they're going to fire her. So I told her, I am in fact doing you a favor. If I were somebody, I'll just wait until you finish with your talk, then you serve me. The next thing what you will do is your boss will call you and either suspend you or sack you. Then she was saying, she was opening her mouth. I said, yes, this is the truth. I said, look, this job you are doing, I have done it for 3 years in the UK. I told her, when I used to be a cashier at a supermarket in the UK, we don't even have a chair to sit on. We stand and serve customers. And we don't dare chat whilst we are serving the customer. Your supervisor finds you, you are fired. Next second. I say it's only in the Gambia that people have got very bad attitude to work. So, and then, she said, oh, thank you for the advice. Look, as accountants, our job should not be number crunching. The numbers are there and they will always add up. So we can always do the numbers. But whatever comes behind the numbers is more important. So let us have good attitudes as young Gambians, as young professionals. Let's have good attitude towards work. Generally, Gambians don't have good attitude towards work. People are in their workplaces, they think, they are doing favors to their customers. Wallahi, they think they are doing favors to their customers. When they don't know that, it is the reverse. It's their customers who are doing favors to him. Because without those customers, he's not going to earn a salary. He's not going to get a job. So please, let's pass this word around. Let us be good citizens. Let us be good citizens. To be a good citizen, you don't have to be somebody who, is always on the good side of the law. You are not involved in any criminal activity. But even not delivering as expected, as per your contract, is criminal itself. So when we have work whereby we're going to deal with customers, let us be nice to them. Let us be polite to them. When we meet them, no matter what our conditions are, because sometimes you can have a bad day, you can have a quarrel with your spouse or whatever, but let that remain in the house. Okay, let that remain in the house. It is the work that makes the house sweet. If you don't have employment, you're not gonna get money. If you don't get money, your house will be in shambles. So please let us be polite when we are serving our customers. Not only to our customers, there are two types of customers. You have internal customers and external customers. Your internal customers are the people you work with because you serve them in another way. So let us be nice to both our internal customers and external customers. Be nice to your colleagues. Treat them well. If you have to deliver something for them, do it with respect. The external customers are the most important ones because they are the ones who give you that job. So be careful with them. When you serve them with respect. If you have to serve customers at front end, if they come, raise your head, give them that eye contact, greet them, and try to throw one or two jokes here and there. You will make them, like you. You'll make them like you. You'll make them like the shop. You'll make them like the business. Because if I know if I go to this shop, I'll have somebody who will talk to me nicely. If I go to the other shop, there will be somebody who will be very rude to me. Which shop will I go to?
The person that is nice to you.
There you go. Who does not want to be treated nice? Everybody wants to be treated nice. So please, sometimes when I think about this, I feel like crying. You will not know it until you go out. You see what the other people are, the other nationals are being. Just go to Senegal. You don't have to go far. Go to Dakar. Go to their markets. You want to buy something, they will be after you like crazy. They will explain the product, the benefits. But Gambians, it's very sad. We have one characteristics. What the Maninkas call kutumkanaya. Gambians are, I'm sorry to say this, maybe I'm part of it, I don't know. But unless we remove that from our attitudes, we won't go anywhere. That's why everybody is crying. Government this, government that, government this, government that. But what about yourself? What are you doing? People will be given job. They will not deliver. You go to the office, you want something else. Oh, what is that? Why do you have to hold the whole office at ransom? Who are you? So please, these are words of advice. We are accountants. We deal with everybody. Okay? We deal with everybody in all fields, in all aspects of life. So we need to have good attitudes. We need to have good approach. We need to have decent dressing. We need to have, decent attitude. We need to have, decent way of talking to people. But it's really sad. How many people know how to talk to people? How many people know? How many people know? So please, my brothers and sisters, let us change our attitudes. We are going to be future leaders of this country. And unless we change our attitude, we are not going to move anywhere. Wallahi, I said this. So it's not about the government. It's not about this. It's not about an individual. It's us who makes the government. The government is us. We, the citizens. Okay, this is not a political statement, but it's a statement that is relevant to your life. Okay, so please, let us not only care about the number crushing and crunching or whatever, but we need to know why we are employed in the first place. We need to know that. It's really, really important. Okay, so on that note, obviously, I think we're going to move. I hope we're going to take note of what has been said as an advice to force myself and, of course, to you and to anyone who is going to watch this video. Okay, it's really important that we change ourselves. Very, very important. We change ourselves for the better. Okay, good. So we have a few minutes before we stop this particular video. Okay, so let me finish the explanation part, then we go to the calculation part. Right, so the next thing is the label, okay, like I said. So in the label, it takes 30 minutes to produce one radio, okay? and the laborers or the workers are paid $12.60 per hour. Okay, like I said, if you're doing your cost gap analysis, you could think of getting another class of labor week, maybe paid less than this $12.60, you know, so on and so forth. So it is estimated that 10% of the hours that will be paid to the assembly workers will be idle. Look at it. Idle hours are always paid. Okay, like I said, these are our gossip time. These are our Facebook time. These are our WhatsApp time. These are our chit chat or whatever you call it. There are so many social media nowadays people are involved in. Okay, somebody was telling me, I was talking about this attitude. Somebody was telling me that there was this place that he went to for a service, and then the lady was very busy with her video call. Can you imagine? Video call. Customers were standing waiting for her. Video call. You know, there are certain things, they make you mad. They really make you mad. You know, you are there for those people. For God's sake, stop whatever you're doing. Attend to them when you go home or when you have your break. Do whatever you want to do. That's your problem. You have your weekend. So please, let's have good attitudes to work. It's really important. Okay, so you see, 10% of these hours will be paid for. The employer, Edwards company is going to pay for it, but then nothing. Okay, so this 10% have to be factored for. So that's why the 30 minutes will have to be grossed up as well. Because if we are doing our budgeting, then that means it's not going to take only 30 minutes, but it's going to take more than that because there will be some waste involved. Just like we've seen on component 2, there was waste. So the 10% there is also waste. So that's why you'll also gross it up. But for that one, it's 10%. So it's going to be 10, 100 minus 10, which will be 90. So 100 over 90. Okay? So we move. The last part is the production overheads. Recent historic cost analysis has revealed the following production overhead data. Total production overhead, and then you have total assembly hours. Month 1, month 2. Okay? If you see something like this where you are given more than one period, that's 2 or more periods if you're given, you must always put one thing into consideration. That is, this cost, fixed cost they are talking about here is a step cost. Okay, what step cost means? It is a semi-variable cost. What that means is this cost has got some element of variability and has got some fixed element as well. So now what do we need to do? We have to separate the variability from the fixed element. We have to separate the the variable cost from the fixed cost. Okay, so if you see a situation whereby you're giving total production overheads more than once and the total labor hours or total activity level, it doesn't have to be only labor hours, but when you're giving total more than one activity level, it can be 2, it can be, you know, if you see that, the first thing that should come to your mind should be this cost that they are trying to portray has some elements of variability and has got some elements of fixed. So I need to separate them. Okay? I need to separate them. So we can separate them using different methods. You could use the scatter diagram method. We could use linear programming method, and we could use high-low method. Okay? As accountants, what we prefer is the high-low method. The high-low method is an easy way of separating fixed costs from variable costs. Okay? The high-low method. So in the high-low method, what you do is you always look for the highest activity level and the lowest activity level. So you look at the highest activity level and its corresponding total overhead, and you look for the lowest activity level and its corresponding total production overhead. Okay, so you deduct the 2 activity levels, just like you deduct the 2 production overheads, the highest and the lowest. Okay, that's why they call it high-low, the highest and the lowest, but it's always based on the activity level. The activity level here is what? Assembly labor hours. So find the difference between the 2, the highest and the lowest, and find the difference with their find the difference between the cost of their corresponding, overheads. So the difference here and the difference here will be divided to get a rate. That rate will always be your variable cost. Okay? And that variable cost can be substituted into any of them, either the highest or the lowest activity level, to arrive at your fixed cost. So that's what we call high-low method. We're going to do it, yeah? So fixed production overhead are absorbed on assembly labor hours based on a normal overactivity level. In a typical year, 240,000 assembly hours will be worked by Edwards Company. Okay, so we know clearly from this that Edwards Company is using absorption costing. Okay, so let's go and answer the question using our spreadsheet. Okay, I'm gonna stop this. So any questions before we